a kind act that changed a life. Ethan wasn't a man blessed by fate. He had gone through harsh ups and downs, and his life was filled with emotional scars that weren't easy to fade. As a child, Ethan grew up in a household where his parents frequently abused and beat him for minor mistakes. He was insulted and belittled every time he did something wrong, leaving a deep mark on his soul. At the age of 9, Ethan was sent to an orphanage and later adopted by a new family. However, this change didn't bring him a better life. His foster family wasn't a place where he found love either. Instead, they treated him indifferently and without affection. This pushed him into making poor decisions during his teenage years, leading him down the path of addiction. Ethan's battle with drugs lasted for many years. He was trapped in despair, unable to break free from his dependence on stimulants. Although he tried to quit several times, each success came at the cost of losing something precious. Ethan lost the wife he loved, became distant from his children, and the opportunity to work at his dream company slowly faded away. In the end, after numerous failed attempts to hold on to his family, Ethan accepted the truth that he would live a lonely life until he died. Yet, luck hadn't completely abandoned him. Ethan found a modest job at a small pizza shop on the corner of town. With his meager salary, he could get by, barely enough to cover his basic needs, but sufficient for survival. The only thing that saved Ethan from his loneliness was his kind neighbor, Mr. Martin. He was always there for Ethan when he needed encouragement. Martin had helped Ethan through his darkest days, helping him quit drugs and secure his job at the pizza shop. Not only was he a friend, but Martin was also the only family Ethan had. To repay Martin's kindness, Ethan often helped him with small chores around the house and spent time with his family. One evening, after finishing his shift at the pizza shop, Ethan drove his old pickup truck home. It was late, and everything around him was quiet. On the familiar road, he came across an unpleasant scene. A car was parked on the roadside with a flat tire, and a young woman was struggling to change it, looking frustrated. She was crouching down with her phone held in her mouth, appearing tired and worried. At first, Ethan thought about driving past, too exhausted after a long day. All he wanted was to go home, lie on his couch, and watch his favorite crime show. But as he got closer and saw the woman wrestling with the car jack, his heart softened. "I can't just leave her like this," he thought, and decided to stop. He pulled up behind her car and honked lightly to signal his presence. The woman turned around, surprised to see Ethan step out of his truck. "Got a flat tire?" Ethan asked, his voice gentle yet concerned. The woman nodded in frustration. "Yeah, this stupid tire must have hit a nail or something." Her tone clearly showed her irritation. "Let me help you change it," Ethan said without hesitation, bending down to lift the car with the jack. At first, the woman seemed hesitant, unsure whether to trust a stranger in such a late-night situation. It was rare for someone to stop and help under these circumstances. But after a few moments of small talk, Ethan began chatting with her to make her feel more comfortable. She introduced herself as Sarah and explained she was on her way home after spending time with friends. Ethan also shared a bit about himself, how he worked at a pizza shop and had just finished his night shift. As their conversation progressed, it became more friendly. Ethan spoke about Mr. Martin, the kind neighbor who had helped him through his dark times. He shared his life filled with regrets, the family he had lost, and the pain he still carried. Sarah didn't say much about herself, but through Ethan's story, she realized he was a kind man, despite the hardships life had dealt him. When Ethan finished changing the tire, he stood up and smiled at Sarah. "I really enjoyed our conversation," he said. Sarah thanked Ethan with deep gratitude. "Thank you so much. You saved me tonight," she said, sincerely. After parting ways, Ethan got back into his truck and drove away, feeling lighter. He had missed his favorite show, but it didn't matter anymore. His heart was filled with joy for having helped someone and shared a meaningful conversation. The next morning, Ethan woke up earlier than usual. It was his day off, and he started his day with his usual exercise routine, followed by laundry and cleaning the house. His plan was to spend the afternoon alone and then visit Mr. Martin and his family in the evening for some company. As Ethan sat down to watch a comedy show on TV, he heard a light knock on the door. At first, he thought it might be Martin, but then remembered that Martin was still at work. The knocking came again, prompting Ethan to get up and check. When he opened the door, he was surprised to see a man in an expensive suit, accompanied by two others, standing next to a black SUV parked in front of the house. "You must be Ethan, right?" the man asked, his voice deep and polite. "Yes, that's me," Ethan replied, unable to hide his surprise. "How can I help you?" The man smiled and said, "I'm Andrew, and I'm here on behalf of my sister, Sarah." Andrew showed Ethan a photo of Sarah on his phone. "Oh, she got home safely, right?" Ethan asked, concerned. "Yes, she made it home safely, and hasn't stopped talking about the kind man who helped her last night. She said you reminded her of our late father." With that, Andrew handed Ethan a white envelope. Ethan hesitated to take it, but when he opened it, he was shocked to see a large sum of money inside. "No, I can't accept this. All I did was help her change a tire," Ethan refused, feeling bewildered. But Andrew insisted. "Sarah really wants to thank you in this way. Please don't decline." Ethan couldn't hold back his tears. For the first time in years, he felt appreciated and valued. He grasped Andrew's hand and sobbed, "Thank you so much. Please send my thanks to Sarah." Andrew continued, "Sarah also mentioned that working at Golden Leaf was your dream. I have good news. There's an open position, and we'd like to offer it to you. If you accept, we'll start your training in 3 months. This time, Ethan couldn't believe his ears. His lifelong dream had now become a reality. He wept uncontrollably, unable to express anything but deep gratitude. Ethan's life had completely transformed after one small act of kindness. 4 months later, not only did Ethan have a new job, but he also had enough money to move into a better home. Most importantly, he brought Mr. Martin's family, his only loved ones, with him. From then on, Ethan maintained a close relationship with Sarah and Andrew. They treated him like a father, and Ethan felt the love he had long lost. Ethan's story is a clear testament to how kindness is always rewarded, sometimes in the most unexpected and wonderful ways. When you treat others with kindness, it will come back to you in ways you can never imagine. If you like this story, please hit like and subscribe so you don't miss our upcoming stories. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments, and we'll see you in the next video.